Now at 4, President Trump has been swift with executive orders in his first 2 weeks in office. Some have produced protests, as you know. Joining us to discuss all of this is Ohio U.S. Representative Jim Renacci.
Congressman Renacci, thanks so much for being here. We really do appreciate it. So here we are, 2 weeks in. What do you think?
It's an interesting world, I would tell you that. We have a president now who's moving very quickly. He's doing things, of course, that he can get done as president. As I tell everybody, there will come a time where he really does have to come to Congress, and that's where he'll hit the wall. That's probably coming after the next couple months.
And speaking of Congress, there have been protests all over this country. One today right here in Cleveland over President Trump's immigration travel ban. What's your thought on that? Do you support that ban?
Well, look, I think the most important thing is safety of our American citizens, and I think that what he's trying to do is put a little pause on it. It's a 90-day pause. I came out and said that I was a little concerned with the green card issue. I was glad to see that the president changed that, because we already have people who vetted through green cards, so that was done. But I think in the end what the American people have to realize is he really does have safety and security as his #1 priority, and that's really what the government should be doing.
New sanctions for Iran after that ballistic missile test they just did recently, but sanctions that are pretty similar to the ones that the Obama administration actually put out at one point, right?
Well, exactly, and I think that's important, though, that we react right away. We have another ballistic missile testing. These are things that violate the agreement. Iran seems to be saying, I don't care about agreements, and at some point in time we have to stand up and say enough's enough. And I think what the president's done is put them on notice, and we'll start that process. But again, another action that we have to take. And
Congressman, some Republican leaders have estimated that border wall that Mr. Trump is talking about building at $15 billion. American taxpayers will have to pay for that first, and then Congress will have to find the funding for that. Do you think you can find the funding, and do you think Mexico will ever pay us back for building that wall?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I have a bill that will force Mexican business people to pay a certain surcharge, so we're looking at ways to do that. But this wall was actually approved in 1996. Many Democratic members voted to support it, so the authorization's already there. All President Trump is doing is saying we're going to follow through with it. So Congress is going to have to find the dollars. But you're right. At the same time, we're going to have to make sure that Americans aren't paying for it.
You finding any Democrats supporting it now?
Well, I think what I'm finding since the president was inaugurated is we have this separation, which we're going to have to. I always struggle with this because our problems are not Republican problems or Democrat problems, they're American problems, and the worst thing we can do is just separate. We've got to figure out ways to work together. I know I do that. I have a bipartisan breakfast every week. I think it's so important that we work together.
Congressman Jim Renacci, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're very busy, but we appreciate you stopping in.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Very good. Thousands of people will be